How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Patriot DIY channel. Today we're going to be showing you how we built a lean-to on the back of our shop. All right, guys, so as you can see, we're in the process of building a lean-to back here on the back of the shop. And so I'm just going to walk you through my whole process. Now, first, I do want to mention I'm not a professional builder by trade or anything like that. I'm just a DIY guy, and I needed some extra storage on the back of my shop. And we're going to show you step by step how we did that. But first, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell, and give us a big old thumbs up. We really appreciate that. All right, guys, let's get to building. All right, guys, first thing we need to do is get our 2x6 up on the wall. This is a 12-foot 2x6 that we're going to be spanning across 3 of the steel studs on our building. You can see that I am using some 4x4s propped up against the wall to help me hold this in place since I am doing it by myself. We're going to measure and mark for the placement, and then we're going to be using a level to make sure we get this nice and level, and then we'll fasten it to the walls with some heavy-duty wood to metal screws. Now we can get ready to put our posts in the ground. And the first thing we need to do is mark out the locations of each of the posts. And to do this, we're going to be stretching a string along here to make sure we get those posts in the correct location. Once we have that marked out, we can go ahead and start digging with our post hole digger. And don't worry about getting these holes to the exact same depth. We are going to be trimming off the tops of these 4x4s later, so it doesn't have to be exactly right. Now we can set our posts into the holes. We're going to be using a level to make sure we get this nice and plumb, and then some scrap wood to use as bracing to hold it in place while we get our concrete in. Once that concrete's had time to set, we're ready to go ahead and put our lower 2x6 onto these posts. All right, guys, we intentionally left these 4x4s a little longer than we needed, so now we're gonna cut these bad boys off. Now we can prep our rafters, and for our rafters we're just going to be using 2x4s. And don't worry, you don't have to do any crazy math to get the angle just right. What I'm going to do is just hold my 2x4 up against our board that's fastened to the wall, and then I'm going to use that to mark the angle. Now we can take all these 2x4s into the miter station and get them cut down to length. Now we can mount our rafter ties to the board and get our rafters in place. right down to our lower 2x6 where the rafters overlap. I cut a scrap piece of wood to use as a spacer to make sure I get this spacing just right. And then again, we're going to fasten those in place with rafter ties. Now we're ready to get our purlins in place, and for that we're just going to be using some 12-foot 1x4s, and we're going to space those out evenly across the rafters and fasten them down. Now for our roofing, we're just going to be using some leftover siding from when our shop was built. But because I want it to match the rest of the shop, I'm going to clean these off and paint them black. Alright guys, we are just about finished up here. Just got done taking the braces off the bottom of these posts here. But if you couldn't tell what we were doing in the time lapse, you can see we pulled our string line here to make sure everything was nice and straight. Cemented our posts in the ground. Then we attached our rafters here with various types of rafter ties. 2x4 rafters, and then 1x4 purlins. Only thing left is get that roof on. And we're just going to lift those into place, leaving about a 2-inch overhang on the sides and a 4-inch overhang on the front. And we're going to secure those down with some self-tapping roofing screws. All right, guys, that is it for how to build a lean-to onto your shop. I think it turned out great. If you guys have any suggestions or things that I should have done different, make sure you let us know in the comments below. Like I said, I'm not a professional, but I think it turned out good and it's going to work out great for us. I'm ultimately going to be turning this into some firewood storage, so make sure you stay tuned for that video and make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.